The alpha male, the strong, independent, self-assured leader who never backs down, doesn't whine, certainly doesn't cry when things don't go his way. At least that's what Trump supporters claim to value. But let's be real. When you actually look at Donald Trump and his loyal base, what you see is the opposite of self-proclaimed alpha energy. What you see is a masterclass in beta male behavior. And today we're going to break it down. Now, I want to start with Trump himself. Donald Trump, the self-proclaimed tough guy, spent his entire presidency trying to project an image of strength. But what do we honestly see when we look at the guy? We see a guy who throws tantrums on X, and Truth Central whenever anybody criticizes him. We see an obese, unathletic guy who lacks physical strength. We see a man who refused to accept the results of the 2020 election, not because he had evidence, but because his fragile snowflake ego couldn't handle losing. And instead of manning up, the way MAGA likes to say, and conceding like every other damn president in modern history, he threw a years-long tantrum, filed dozens of frivolous lawsuits, and incited a violent insurrection. Is that an alpha move? No, that's the behavior of a spoiled little kid who didn't get his way. And then we move from Trump to the Republican Party, also self-proclaimed alphas. Remember that at one point, the Republican Party claimed to stand for family values and fiscal responsibility and strong foreign policy against authoritarians and dictators. I've almost forgotten about it because the moment Trump came along, they threw those principles out the window because they're terrified of him. They're terrified of his base. They're terrified of his Twitter rants. And as recently we have heard, they are terrified of Elon Musk bankrolling primary challengers against them if they step out of line. Is that alpha behavior? So instead of standing up to Trump, they capitulate to his every whim. And nothing says strong leadership like cowering in the corner in fear of a guy who can't even spell correctly in his social media posts, after all. We then go to foreign policy. There was a time when the Republican Party prided itself on standing up to dictators and defending democracy. Did they do it in ways I agreed with? No, but it's what they prided themselves on. And now Trump and his supporters are practically begging Ukraine to surrender to Vladimir Putin. They've turned America first into America alone. They've abandoned our allies, and they love these authoritarian regimes. Why? Because Trump admires strong men like Putin. Trump knows that they are the alpha image Trump aspires to. And his followers are too busy simping for their dear leader to notice the irony of it. Nothing says alpha like cheering a dictator while wearing a "Don't Tread on Me" shirt and a MAGA hat, right? And then finally, there's the victim mentality, the constant victimhood. Trump supporters love to talk about how us snowflakes on the left can't handle opposing viewpoints. But have you ever seen a group more obsessed with playing victim? They're terrified of change. They're terrified of minorities. They're terrified of anything that challenges their worldview. And meanwhile, they go cancel culture everywhere while they try to ban books that trigger them. They whine about wokeism while clutching pearls over a rainbow flag. And they claim to be patriots while undermining democracy. Folks, this is not alpha behavior. This is snowflake insecurity masquerading as strength. And finally, we can't forget the ultimate beta move, blindly following a leader who doesn't care about you. Trump spent his entire life screwing over workers and dodging taxes and exploiting anyone he could for personal gain. And yet his supporters treat him like he's some kind of messiah. Why? Because they've tied their identities to him. They've staked their fragile egos in his success. And when he loses, they can't handle it. Instead of accepting reality, they retreat into conspiracy theories and alternate realities. It's not strength, it's delusion. At the end of the day, Trump and his supporters are the opposite of the alphas that they claim to be. They're insecure, they're reactive, they are desperate for validation from their orange leader. They try to project strength, but they crumble at the slightest criticism. And meanwhile, politically, They say they value freedom, but they cheer for authoritarianism. They talk a big game about winning, but they can never handle losing. So the next time you hear a Trump supporter talking about alpha males, just remember when Trump won in November, we on the left said, hey, you know what? He won. We don't like it. We don't agree with it. It's not who we would have chosen, but he won. That's the alpha behavior. That's not what you are seeing from them. The betas are the ones who need a reality TV star to tell them what to think. And they're all over on the other side. Let me know what you think. Well, I wrote a book after a long journey and a ton of work. I am really thrilled with how it turned out, and I hope you'll read it. The book is called The Echo Machine. And in a nutshell, it looks at how American politics got so broken, who has already figured out solutions, and how we can try to fix it and stop the terror of Trump for the next 4 years. With Trump winning this election, the Echo Machine couldn't be more relevant, not only a warning about how we got here, but also about what might be coming and how to prevent the worst outcomes. We've got to stay engaged. We need a plan, and that's what the book is about. There's a belief out there that unless you have corporate media behind you, you can't have a successful political book launch, that it's not possible. I think we can prove that wrong. Order The Echo Machine today at davidpakman.com/echo on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Audible, Kindle, anywhere that books, ebooks, and audiobooks are sold. You can also call any local bookstore and say, please order me The Echo Machine by David Pakman. Wherever you get the book, you'll get the free pre-order perks, including the signed book plate. Head to davidpakman.com/free book stuff after ordering.